Imagine this. You're holding onto a rope so tightly that your hands are burning, but you can't seem to let go. Now, what if I told you that most of us live our lives like this every single day, clinging to things that cause us pain, stress, and frustration, whether it's a grudge, an unmet expectation, or even a dream that's no longer serving us? We grip them like our lives depend on it. But here's the hard truth. The tighter you hold on, the more it hurts. Sounds harsh, right? But stay with me, because today we're diving into Stoicism and the art of letting go, an ancient philosophy that doesn't just tell you to move on, but actually gives you the tools to do it. And trust me, it's not about being emotionless or detached. It's about freedom, real, lasting freedom. So, if you've ever felt stuck, overwhelmed, or weighed down by life, this video might just change the way you think forever. Ready to let go of the rope? Stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll have the mindset and the power to finally set yourself free. Let's get started. Number 1. The Silent Observer Challenge. What if I told you that the most powerful response in some of life's messiest situations is nothing at all? Yep, nothing. No witty comebacks, no defense, no overthinking texts at 2 a.m., just silence. Sounds crazy, right? Trust me, I get it. We're wired to believe that engagement is strength. Fight back, speak up, explain yourself. But what if I told you there's a way to reclaim your peace and stay in control without uttering a single word? That's where the Silent Observer Challenge comes in. Let's face it, we've all been there. A coworker makes a snarky comment in a meeting, your partner picks a fight over something trivial, or a stranger on social media tries to bait you into a pointless argument. And what do? We engage, we justify, we defend ourselves. Why? Because it feels like we have to. But here's the thing, half the time, our efforts to explain or fix the situation just feed the fire. You know the type, the person who thrives on drama, who's only satisfied if they've dragged you into their storm. It's exhausting, isn't it? Here's where the Silent Observer Challenge flips the script. For 1 week, you commit to this. In any emotionally charged situation, you step back and observe. That's it. No defending, no explaining, no snapping back. You watch, you listen, and you let the storm pass. It might feel unnatural at first. You'll want to jump in, to correct someone's assumptions, to win the moment. But hold your ground. There's a quiet strength in restraint, a kind of dignity in choosing silence over chaos. Now, I know what you're thinking. Won't this make me look passive or weak? Nope. This isn't about rolling over and accepting bad behavior. It's about recognizing that not every battle is worth your energy. Think of it as an emotional jujitsu move. You're redirecting the chaos instead of absorbing it. It's not passive, it's intentional. And trust me, it's way more effective than getting dragged into someone else's drama spiral. Let me share a quick story. A while back, I was in a meeting where a colleague, let's call him Dan, took every opportunity to undermine my ideas. Usually, I'd feel the need to push back, to prove my worth. But this time, I tried something different. I stayed silent. I let Dan rant while I just observed. And you know what happened? He kept talking himself into a corner, contradicting his own points. By the end of the meeting, everyone saw through his behavior, and I didn't have to say a word. My silence did the talking. This challenge isn't just about dealing with other people, it's about reclaiming your own peace. When you stop engaging in unnecessary battles, you free yourself from the emotional roller coaster they bring. You stop letting other people dictate your mood, your day, your sense of self, and that, my friend, is liberating. It's about reclaiming your space, your peace, and your dignity. So here's the takeaway. The next time you're pulled into a conflict, ask yourself, is this worth my energy? If not, take the Silent Observer Challenge. Stay calm, stay silent, let the storm pass. You'll be amazed at the strength and clarity that comes from doing nothing. And in the end, it's not about winning the argument, it's about winning back your peace. Number 2, the regret cleanse. What if I told you that the weight you've been carrying around, those regrets you replay in your head, the ones that haunt you at the most inconvenient moments, could be lifted in one simple yet transformative act? Sounds almost too good to be true, right? But trust me, it's possible. And no, it doesn't involve therapy, a self-help book, or some magic mantra. It's something you can do right now to finally let go of the past. I call it the regret cleanse. Stay with me on this, because this isn't just about letting go, it's about making room for something better. We've all been there. You're lying in bed and suddenly your brain decides it's the perfect time to remind you of that thing you said at a party 5 years ago. Or maybe it's bigger, something you wish you'd done differently, an opportunity you let slip through your fingers, a relationship you regret staying in or leaving. You know the type of regret that sits in the back of your mind, quietly whispering, "What if?" It's exhausting, isn't it? It clings to you, shapes your decisions, and keeps you stuck in a loop of if only. Here's where the regret cleanse comes in. It's a simple exercise, but it requires honesty and a bit of courage. Grab a piece of paper and a pen. Write down every regret that comes to mind. Big ones, small ones, silly ones, heartbreaking ones. Let it all out, no censoring. Now, once you're done, look at the list. Really look at it. These regrets, as heavy as they feel, are nothing more than stories. They're not your identity, and they don't define your worth. And here's the twist. You're not keeping this list. You're going to destroy it. I know it sounds dramatic, but there's a reason for this. Psychology tells us that rituals, even small ones, have a profound impact on our mindset. By physically destroying the list, burning it, shredding it, whatever feels right, you're signaling to your brain that these regrets no longer have power over you. When I did this for the first time, I burned my list in my backyard. Watching those words turn to ash felt oddly liberating. It wasn't about pretending those regrets never existed. It was about acknowledging them and choosing to let them go. Let me give you an example. A few years ago, I regretted not taking a dream job because I was scared of change. That decision haunted me for years. I'd replay the what-if scenarios every time work felt mundane. But during my own regret cleanse, I realized something. My regret wasn't about the job itself. It was about the fear that I might keep making choices out of fear. Writing it down and burning it wasn't just cathartic. It was empowering. It reminded me that while I can't rewrite the past, I can control the decisions I make moving forward. This isn't about erasing your mistakes or pretending the past didn't happen. It's about reclaiming your energy from a narrative that's no longer serving you. Regrets have a sneaky way of stealing your present by keeping you tethered to the past. The regret cleanse is about cutting those ties, about reclaiming your space, your peace, and your future. So, what's holding you back? Take that piece of paper, write it all down, and when you're ready, destroy it. Let the act be your declaration. You're done letting regrets define you. This isn't about perfection, it's about progress. And with every regret you release, you're making room for something better. Your peace, your power, your future. It's all waiting for you to let go. Number 3, radical loss simulation. Imagine waking up tomorrow and everything you own is gone. No phone, no clothes, no car, no roof over your head. Terrifying, right? But here's the thing, it's also liberating in a way you might not expect. I know, this sounds a little extreme, but hear me out. What if simulating this kind of loss, even just for a day, could completely change how you see your life and everything in it. That's the idea behind radical loss simulation, and trust me, it's not as grim as it sounds. In fact, it might just be the most empowering thing you ever try. We've all felt it, that creeping dissatisfaction with life. You scroll through social media, and suddenly your perfectly fine existence feels dull compared to everyone else's curated highlights. Or you catch yourself wanting the next big thing, a better car, a bigger house, the latest gadget, because what you have never feels like enough. Sound familiar? It's exhausting, isn't it? We spend so much time chasing more that we forget how much we already have. That's where radical loss simulation comes in. For one day, you live as if you've lost everything. Not literally, of course. You're not throwing out your furniture or quitting your job. But you strip life down to its basics. Wear your simplest clothes, skip your favorite luxuries, and unplug from the distractions you think you can't live without. The idea is to experience a version of life without the layers of comfort and possessions we take for granted. It's not about deprivation, it's about recalibration. Why does this work? Psychologists call it negative visualization, a cornerstone of Stoic philosophy. By imagining, or in this case, simulating loss, you trick your brain into realizing how much you already have. It's like hitting a reset button on your gratitude. Suddenly, that cup of coffee feels like a luxury. Your home, no matter how modest, feels like a sanctuary. And the people in your life, you'll value them more than ever. Let me tell you about the first time I tried this. I decided to spend a Saturday without any of my usual comforts. No phone, no TV, no fancy meals. I even walked instead of driving, which felt weirdly inconvenient at first. By noon, I was sitting on a park bench, eating a plain sandwich. And you know what? It hit me. This moment, this incredibly simple moment, was perfect. The air was crisp, the sun was warm, and for the first time in weeks, I felt genuinely content. That night, when I finally returned to my normal life, even turning on a light switch felt like a gift. This exercise isn't about pretending to be a monk or giving up everything you love. It's about stepping out of the noise and clutter to reconnect with what truly matters. When you simulate loss, you gain perspective. You realize that so much of what you thought you needed was just noise, and what's left, your health, your relationships, your ability to experience joy, is more than enough. Radical loss simulation isn't easy. It challenges your comfort zone, forces you to confront your attachments, and makes you rethink what you actually value. But that's the point. It's about reclaiming your peace, your gratitude, and your focus. So, here's my challenge to you. Pick a day, any day, and try it. Strip life down to the essentials, take nothing for granted, and see how it feels. I promise you, when the day ends and you return to your comforts, they'll feel different, better, brighter, more meaningful. This isn't about losing, it's about gaining clarity. Your peace, your gratitude, and your sense of enoughness are waiting for you to notice them. Number 4, the anger detox experiment. What if I told you that anger, the emotion you've probably been told to suppress, ignore, or let go of, could actually be detoxed, just like your body after a weekend binge? Not ignored, not bottled up, but detoxed. It sounds a little strange, right? But stick with me. I'm not talking about some magical cure for frustration or a one-size-fits-all solution for your temper. This is about something far more practical and transformative. It's called the anger detox experiment, and it's about finding a way to take control of your anger before it takes control of you. We've all been there. You're stuck in traffic, someone cuts you off, and before you know it, you're yelling at your windshield like it's going to fix the situation. Or maybe it's deeper than that. A coworker undermines you, your partner says something thoughtless, and suddenly you're carrying this heavy, simmering anger that sticks with you for days. You know the kind that makes you replay arguments in your head and think of all the brilliant comebacks you didn't say. It's exhausting, isn't it? And the worst part, it doesn't solve anything. Here's where the anger detox experiment comes in. Instead of ignoring your anger or letting it fester, you're going to process it, consciously and intentionally. How? By writing it down. Yes, I know it sounds almost too simple, but there's a twist. You're not just jotting down your frustrations. You're doing it as if you're venting to a person who doesn't exist. Imagine your anger has a dedicated audience, someone who's there to hear every unfiltered word you've got. You're not censoring yourself. You're not worrying about how it sounds. You're just getting it all out. Here's why this works. Studies show that writing can be a powerful emotional release. It gives you a safe space to articulate your feelings without fear of judgment or escalation. Anger is a fire, and writing is like letting that fire burn in a controlled environment. It helps you process what's really going on beneath the surface. Because let's face it, anger is almost always a mask for something deeper. Maybe it's fear, disappointment, or even sadness. Writing gives you the clarity to figure that out. Let me share a personal story. A few months ago, I had a falling out with a close friend. It was one of those situations where you both feel misunderstood, and no matter what you say, it only makes things worse. I was furious. For days, I carried that anger around like a weight. So, I decided to try the anger detox experiment. I grabbed my notebook and wrote down every raw, unfiltered thought. I didn't worry about grammar. I didn't hold back. I just let it all pour out. And somewhere in the middle of my rant, I realized something. My anger wasn't really about the argument. It was about feeling unappreciated. That realization changed everything. This experiment isn't about denying your anger or pretending it doesn't exist. It's about giving it a space to breathe so it doesn't take over your life. When you write it down, you're not just venting, you're creating a bridge between your emotions and your understanding. And the best part, once it's out on paper, it doesn't have to live in your head anymore. Here's the empowering part. The anger detox experiment isn't just about processing anger. It's about reclaiming your peace, your emotional clarity, and your ability to respond rather than react. Anger doesn't have to own you. With this experiment, you're saying, I see you, I hear you, but I'm in control. So the next time you feel that fire rising, grab a pen and let it out. Write it all down, every frustration, every word you wish you could say out loud. And when you're done, close the notebook, take a deep breath, and remind yourself that you've detoxed. You've made space for something better. Your peace, your clarity, your strength. It's all still there, waiting for you to claim it. Number 5. The non-attachment inventory. Imagine waking up one morning and realizing that half of the stress, frustration, and disappointment in your life comes from being too attached, not to people or love, but to ideas, outcomes, and expectations. Bold claim, right? But hear me out. We all have this invisible inventory of things we're emotionally invested in. It could be as big as a career milestone or as small as needing that perfectly crafted Instagram post to get more likes. And when things don't go as planned, it feels like the world is falling apart. But what if we could take an inventory, identify those attachments, and let go of the ones that aren't serving us? That's what the non-attachment inventory is all about. You know the feeling. You've worked hard on something, a project at work, a holiday dinner, a personal goal, and the result doesn't match your expectations. Maybe someone criticizes it, or maybe it just doesn't get the recognition you hoped for. Suddenly, all that effort feels wasted, and you're left with a knot of frustration in your chest. Or maybe it's a bigger attachment, an idea of what your life should look like by now. The perfect relationship, the dream job, the house with a view. And when life doesn't line up with that vision, it stings. We've all been there, haven't we? Here's the thing. Attachment itself isn't the enemy. It's natural to care about things, to want good outcomes, to dream big. But when our sense of self-worth gets tangled up with those things, that's when it becomes a problem. So, how do we untangle? Enter the non-attachment inventory. Think of it like a spring cleaning for your mind and emotions. The idea is simple but powerful. You make a list of all the things you're emotionally invested in: projects, goals, relationships, even habits. Then you ask yourself a tough but essential question. If this didn't work out, would I still be okay? Now you might be thinking, what if I realize I'm too attached to something important? That's the beauty of this exercise. It doesn't mean you stop caring or stop trying. It means you free yourself from the weight of needing it to go perfectly. It's about giving your best effort, but releasing the grip on the outcome. I'll share a quick story. A few years ago, I was obsessed with getting a promotion at work. I poured everything into it. Extra hours, creative ideas, even skipping vacations to impress my boss. When the promotion went to someone else, I was crushed. It wasn't just disappointment, it felt personal, like I wasn't good enough. A mentor of mine gave me advice that changed everything. She said, "Detach from the title. Focus on the work you love. The rest will follow." I didn't get it at first, but I tried it. I let go of the need for the promotion and focused on doing work I was proud of. Ironically, the next year, I got an even better opportunity, one I hadn't even been aiming for. The non-attachment inventory isn't about lowering your standards or giving up on your dreams. It's about reclaiming your freedom from the emotional roller coaster of what if and why not me. When you detach from the outcome, you gain clarity, resilience, and most importantly, peace. You start to see setbacks as detours, not dead ends. This is your challenge. Sit down with a pen and paper and write out your inventory. Be honest about the things you're clinging to and how they make you feel. Then, for each item, ask yourself if you'd still be okay without it. If the answer is no, take a moment to reflect on why. What fear or belief is driving that attachment? And what would happen if you let it go? This isn't about indifference, it's about empowerment. When you let go of the need for things to be a certain way, you create space for life to surprise you. And trust me, the surprises are often better than anything you could have planned. So take stock, let go, and make room for something bigger, better, and entirely unexpected. Number 6. Permission to fail manifesto. What if I told you that the secret to truly living might start with confronting the one thing we spend most of our lives avoiding, our own mortality? Wait, don't run just yet. I know it sounds heavy, even morbid, but trust me, this isn't about scaring you or spiraling into existential dread. It's about perspective. A kind of perspective so powerful it has the ability to turn your mundane, routine-filled days into something extraordinary. And the best part? You can do it with nothing more than a simple walk. Intrigued? Let me explain. We've all had those days where everything feels like it's moving in slow motion. The endless emails, the to-do lists, the same old dinner plans. You start to wonder if this is it, if this treadmill of responsibilities is all life has to offer. And then maybe you hear about someone's unexpected loss, or you brush up against your own fragility in some way, a close call, a health scare, and suddenly you're jolted awake. For a brief moment, everything feels sharp and vivid, and you realize how much of life you've been taking for granted. We've all been there, right? But here's the thing. Why wait for life to shock you awake when you can choose to wake yourself up? That's where the mortality meditation walk comes in. The idea is deceptively simple, yet profoundly impactful. You take a walk, not just any walk, but one where you consciously reflect on the impermanence of life. Yes, you're intentionally thinking about the fact that one day all of this, your worries, your ambitions, your very existence, will come to an end. Sounds intense, doesn't it? But it's not about dwelling in fear. It's about stripping away the noise and seeing life for what it truly is: fleeting, fragile, and unbelievably precious. Now I get it. You might be thinking, why would I willingly put myself in that mindset? That's just asking to feel overwhelmed. But here's the twist. It's not overwhelming, it's liberating. When you walk with the awareness that your time is limited, the small stuff that normally gets under your skin suddenly feels laughably insignificant. The argument you had earlier, the email you forgot to send, the awkward moment you replay in your head, they shrink in the face of the bigger picture. And the things that truly matter, the people you love, the passions you've sidelined, the beauty in the world around you, they come rushing to the forefront. Let me share a quick story. A while back, I found myself completely stuck in a cycle of overthinking and procrastination. I'd lost sight of what I was even working toward. One evening, out of sheer frustration, I went for a walk. I decided to do something different. I imagined that this was my last day on Earth. Sounds dramatic, right? But as I walked, something shifted. I noticed the way the sunset painted the sky with colors I hadn't really looked at in months. I felt the cool breeze on my face, heard the crunch of gravel under my shoes. I realized how much beauty I'd been blind to because I was too wrapped up in my own head. By the time I got home, I wasn't weighed down anymore. I felt light, present, and oddly grateful, even for the challenges I was facing. This walk isn't about doom and gloom. It's about clarity. It's about cutting through the noise and reconnecting with the things that truly make life worth living. It's about noticing the small joys, savoring the present, and realizing that even the tough moments are part of a life you're lucky to have. So here's my challenge to you. Try it. The next time you feel overwhelmed, take a mortality meditation walk. Leave your phone behind. Tune into your surroundings, and let the thought of life's impermanence guide your perspective. Don't focus on what you'd lose, focus on what you'd treasure. Let it remind you that every moment, yes, even this one, is a gift. This isn't about being fearless, it's about being awake. It's about living a life so full that when the end eventually comes, you'll look back and say, I didn't waste it. I was really there. Thank you so much for watching. I truly hope this video gave you something to think about. Whether it was a fresh perspective, a practical tool, or just a moment of clarity. If you found this helpful or insightful, please give it a thumbs up. It really helps support the channel and lets me know this content is valuable to you. And if you're interested in diving deeper into topics like this, Stoicism, mindset, personal growth, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a video. Know someone who might benefit from learning about the art of letting go? Share this video with them. You never know whose life you could help improve with just one small action. And I'd love to hear from you in the comments. What's something you've struggled to let go of? Or maybe you've already mastered this skill and have some wisdom to share. Let's build a space where we can learn from each other's journeys. Remember, letting go isn't about giving up. It's about creating room for freedom, peace, and growth. Keep that in mind as you move forward, and I'll see you in the next one. Until then, take care and keep choosing what serves your highest good.